Welcome back. I got one of those phone calls that you never want to get when you sell a car, and that's the car won't start. It's the Grand Am that I sold a little while back, the one I never quite finished, and I still haven't finished it, but now it won't start. So it's not under warranty, they've had it long enough, I need to go get it fixed for them. And the reason it won't start is they can't turn the key. So I've never had this problem on a Grand Am, but I have had this problem on other early 2000s GM vehicles like Impalas, Monte Carlos, even some Malibus and Cutlasses. The Cutlasses that were four doors and look like Malibus, basically an Alero. So we're gonna go and change the ignition lock, but unfortunately, because we can't turn the key, it's gonna be a little more complicated. So I'm gonna show you how to change the ignition lock when you can't turn the key, either because you don't have one or it just stopped working, like this one. And before you start, no, it's the right key. It's the one that opens the doors and the one they've been using all along. So it's something that broke inside the lock cylinder and it just gave up. So let's go get it changed. But first, the hard part. We have to pick a service vehicle. Nah, I'm not taking the Ford. I don't want to break down going to fix something, he says as he gets in an unreliable Dodge.
The first thing we do is verify the customer complaint and hope we get lucky and it happens to turn one last time. We're going to give it the jiggle, give it the tap, a little twist and tap, a little twist and jiggle. Yep, there's no steering wheel lock, that's not what's holding it. Make sure that the cable for the park lever isn't jammed up in there. No, it's all the way in park. Yep, we definitely have a failed ignition lock, so let's tear it apart. We'll start by removing the upper trim on our steering column. Just find a place to grab it and yank up. It just clips in, so you're just unclipping it. And the clips are very forgiving, so you won't break them. And then behind that, there's two hidden bolts. So we'll spin those out of there. And we did drop one down in Narnia, and hopefully by the time we're done with this job, it falls out the bottom. We can grab it and put it back in. That happens a lot. There's two Phillips screws on the top of the instrument cluster bezel. I use a stubby screwdriver because a regular screwdriver gets it at a weird angle. So our bezel is free, but we can't quite get it out. We'll tilt our steering wheel down just a little bit past the lock. We can slip it out of there. We'll tilt it back down. And there's a couple of bolts on the top of our cluster. We're doing our best not to let these bolts join the other one in Narnia. Success. Now we unplug our cluster, toss that in the back seat, and we'll pull our radio bezel out.
Somebody's been here before.
I guess the owner figured if they put the bezel back on, I'd never know that they took it apart before me. So they left some stuff unplugged, we didn't have to worry about that, and our radio is just sitting in there. So we'll just unplug the back of it. You don't have to take this out, but since it was already half out, I might as well finish. Although they did break the clip for that one plug, so we had to use a screwdriver to release it. Now we can unbolt our ignition lock and switch. Push the lock out of the dash, and you might think it comes out where the radio used to be. Nope, it comes out where the cluster is, or was. The cluster is now in the back seat, so if your ignition lock is in the back seat, you've got bigger problems. We'll unplug the electrical wires so we get a little more room, and we can twist it around. And we're going to try the key one last time before we have to destroy things. Flip it upside down, bang it around a little bit, keep trying our key. Sometimes when it's upside down and you hit it, you get those tumblers to fall back into place or something, and you get lucky. So far, I'm not getting lucky. I only have so much patience, and they've been used up. So we need to push that button down. Unfortunately, the only way to push that button down is to rotate the lock cylinder. Since we can't get our key to turn it, we're going to use our supplemental lock cylinder removal tool. We're going to drill the ignition switch out. It's just plastic. Right in front of that little pin. Drill a little hole as far forward as we can. And then we're going to switch directions and we're going to go back towards that lock pin. And it usually knocks it out of there, and it did. So now we just pry it out. That's all it takes. We just pulled that pin out of there. Toss that in a pile. Now that our lock cylinder is out of there, we can get our pass lock wires out. And we can get our little shift cable out of there. This is the one that holds it in park. And we have to rotate it in order to get it out of there. turn it, and it falls right out. And that's what it looks like when we drilled it out. And you know where that goes.
In the pile.
So we have our new one from Scott's Grand Name Emporium. And it works. Even got 2 keys with this one. So this is how it's supposed to work. Rotate it to run, push the pin, and that thing comes out of there. And now, put it back together, real easy. Slip in our cable, put in our pass lock button, and slip our cylinder back in there. Just make sure everything's in the right place and it works. We'll plug in our wires. Pull our key out, slip it back in the dash. This one decided it was going to fight me, and I didn't want to play. So I'm just going to pull the lock cylinder back out of here. Give myself another 1/4 inch of space, and that's all I needed to slip it back inside the dash where it belongs. Never had to do that before, but it was getting hot in this car, so I didn't want to mess around. Now we can bolt it back into the dash. Tighten it down to manufacturer specs. And slip our lock cylinder back in there. Start our car up. It's amazing it started. Plug in our instrument cluster and see if our security light is flashing or what's going on. I can't believe it started. The odds of me picking an ignition lock to put in here that matched the resistance of the original one is very slim, but apparently never zero. So we don't have a security light, and it starts. We'll check it one last time. That's the security light there, and it went off as though it was already programmed for this. So we're going to turn the air conditioning on because it's getting hot in here, and we'll finish this job. We'll bolt our cluster in on the top, plug in our radio, turn it back over so we get the antenna wire in there, and we got some extra wires that we have to plug in that the last owner took off for us. Keep those up top so we don't get stuff behind the radio. Put the radio in and bolt it in. Put our bezel in. Now we can take it out of park so we don't have to risk breaking that thing. Plug in all of our switches and clip it into the dash. Put our little bezel in around our ignition lock cylinder. And we'll start this thing back up so the Princess can have his air conditioning. It's getting hot in here. Put the instrument cluster bezel back in here. Test the wipers at the same time. Flip it in. We'll put our screws up on the top. We'll put our screws back in the bottom, and we got lucky, and the one came back from Narnia, so we'll put that one in. Then we can put the top trim piece back on our steering column. The backs of it clips in. I guess it'd be the front. It's towards the front of the car, and then just snaps down. And we'll test everything one last time. I still can't believe that thing started.
That's all it takes to change the ignition lock on your 99 to 05 Grand Am or other early 2000s GM vehicles that are similar. And even though we couldn't turn the key and it was a little more complicated than it should have been, it was still a pretty easy job. We just have some collateral damage. And this was just a test of Scott's emergency repair system. Had this been the actual repair, we'd be done by now, but we're not. I just got that used ignition lock and key from my favorite sponsor, Scott's Grand Name Emporium. I threw it in there just so they get to work in the morning so that we could order the parts and get it fixed the right way for the last time. We ordered a new lock from GM because if I get one from AutoZone or anywhere else that's already keyed, they're gonna have 2 different keys for the car. So if I get one from GM, it comes uncoated. We can code it and it'll be the same key for all the locks on the car. So we're gonna go with that just so we have 1 key for the car. And the ignition switch itself that we had to destroy, we can just buy that at any part store. They're all the same. No reason to pay GM prices. So when that comes in, I'll throw it all back together and then it'll be done for real this time. And that job's gonna be a whole lot easier. It hopefully won't require any drilling and Scott's Grand Name Emporium can get the parts returned to them. And then we probably will have to reprogram the ignition lock just because I got lucky that the lock happened to be the same resistance. I believe there's 20 different resistances. It was like a 1 in 20 chance that I would get it, and I got it. That's never happened before. So I was as shocked as anyone that I didn't have to leave the key on for 10 minutes and wait for it to run its cycle and then it would start. But it started right up, the security light never came on. Sometimes if it's close in resistance, the light will come on, and when you clear the code out, then it'll start flashing and you got to go through it all again, and sometimes you just leave the code in there and it'll go away. I've had both of those, but I've never had one where I put it together and it just started. Just got lucky. So saved me 10 minutes waiting for the key to program itself. So when those parts come in, I'll throw it all back together and the job will be done. And if you noticed, it did have a crack in the windshield. Not only did it break before I could finish it, it was totaled once again. So I don't know what they're doing with the car. They haven't decided yet, but I still have to finish it. We still have tires and brakes and a bumper to put on it. And then they'll decide if they want to fix all the new damage or part of the damage or none of the damage. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see this car eventually come back. They work like 5 or 6 days a week, and that's their only car. So it's really hard for them to get it to me and leave it with me to get all that work done, and it's not super important. Still runs and drives just great. They've put, I don't know, 20,000 miles on it already. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I don't know where the sea turtles are, so I'll just leave that for them.